AITA for ending my engagement because of his demands about our prenup? I, F37, recently got a lump sum for a career project that turned into a whole company. I got into an agreement with a company that has been reselling my services via outlicensing and long-term corporate JVs. When I signed the paperwork, I felt like I had the opportunity to build a financial future, but my relationship wouldn't be affected. This has not been the case, and I'm very put off, to the point of breaking our engagement. We've been together for 4 years. I met him on the last leg of my struggle to get what has become my working life's motivation. This project has been all-consuming, and aside from that, I only had time for my family. I have very good friends, but everyone is busy. I didn't date or go out. When Sean, M43, came along, I was swept off my feet because I wasn't expecting to find someone that I liked so much. We shared the same sense of humor, and I became really attracted to him, both emotionally and physically. Sean is divorced. He has average office assistant skills and works for a small government agency. Our salary gap was not a huge deal as I invested a lot on my project, so whatever money I kept for myself went to my priorities that are non-negotiable. I take care of my family and pay bills. He did have hobbies that he spent time on, but when I met him, he was in between jobs and had to wait 4 months until he became active at his new job, at the agency. We were both thin on money. I was very happy to have a guy who didn't pressure me to wear certain styles. I'm more of a flats and comfy clothes lady, when my ex before him demanded that I look trendy and said things that nullified my self-esteem. I knew he was on food stamps, very briefly, and chalked it up to a bad situation that was temporary. There was huge mutual acceptance. We tried to start a small consulting company, but it didn't work out. I noticed that he wasn't ready to co-manage, and after a long conversation, we mutually decided to call it off. We had been talking about marriage for a while, and when he proposed, the subject of a prenup was no surprise as we had already agreed on having one. Even if I had nothing, I see it as a way to protect ourselves and each other from potential situations. I'm in a niche market that deals with loss prevention, and I've seen people getting into lawsuits. We had drafted a plan but had some tense moments. He closed off at the lawyer's office and created a tense environment during our second meeting. Nothing that we had agreed on was getting followed through, and he kept asking for things and raising the bar. He got his own lawyer, which would have been okay, except that he never told me, and his attorney showed up and I didn't even know he'd hired one. We had to pause the prenup after he almost bit my head off outside of my lawyer's office when I refused to give his daughter shares of my existing company. That's a no-go for me, and I'd rather stay unmarried. I built that company to leave something to my children. I'm the only parent looking out of them, as my ex has been kind of a deadbeat. Sean wasn't even in the picture when I started it. I will not create a trust fund for his child either, like he asked. None of this requests had been previously discussed but came up once his lawyer showed up. I did agree to help her financially, give her an allowance and help pay for a car. I also agreed to pay full health insurance and contribute to her college housing plus contribute to her education. She has a successful mom, so my logic is that she already has someone willing to give her a good start in life since Sean isn't financially able. His daughter is an adult, 18F, while my kids are in grade school, and I need to make sure they are taken care of while she's already at an age where she can get a job. I offered to contribute to a fund for her first home, but it seems like nothing I offered was good enough. I love his kid, but I didn't raise her and she will never see me as her mom, and I respect that. Her mom's family owns a business and her mom owns her home in a very good area. It's not like she depends on me to have a good life. I wanted it to be fair since her mom, Sean, and I could contribute. So Sean and I had an argument because he sent me a breakdown of how much I'm supposed to make off my business over the next few years. I lost my temper because it felt like a gotcha situation. I confronted him about my own kids and asked what he would contribute to them. He went silent, so I said I wanted their names on the deed to a piece of land that he owns but hasn't been able to develop because he doesn't have the funds. He was surprised and accused me of trying to dilute his inheritance to his daughter and being generally unfair since she has less than what my kids will end up having. I just wanted him to see my point, but I made things worse. We used to be able to talk outside of the prenup, but now, if I don't get his sarcasm, it's his dry behavior that's driving me crazy. He said he's surprised at my greed and accused me of othering his child. I'm trying to figure out if I came across as a bad stepmother. Also, I'm not ruling out helping all our kids start their own businesses if they want to, but I can't guarantee its success since we are not there yet. Canceling the engagement sounded like the most sensible decision, and I'm astonished this is actually happening. I don't know how to navigate. His last messages have been very hurtful, and he says I'm showing my true colors and told me thank you for my dishonesty about how I truly feel about his daughter. My best friend is pissed and threatens to put him on blast if he keeps this up. I'm confused since I didn't expect our relationship to end like this. AITA?